Hello everyone, Teresa Van Leesha, qualified teacher, nearly 30 years now. Here talking with Owen about my book, Political Persecution of Women and Children World. It's a global book written for the world's women, children and good men. Probably should have called it Political Persecution of Women, Children and Good Men. And I published it in July 2024 in Australia. It's printed in Melbourne. And Owen here is the husband of a good friend of mine who goes to the church, a local church, his wife. And Owen has read this entire book, 556 pages. And he read the whole book, and I saw him at a cafe one day and I said, "How you going, Owen?" He goes, "Good, Teresa." He says, "Oh, Teresa, I've read your book." I said, "What, the whole thing?" And you've read the whole thing? And he goes, "Yep, I read the whole thing and I agree with everything you said." Now, people don't have to agree with everything I say, and Owen didn't have to agree with everything I said. So I thought, oh, God, that's amazing. Wanted to get a man's perspective on a book about women's rights and children's rights. And so decided to interview Owen. And so I asked him, I've got 3 questions for Owen about why he thinks the book is very important, why he thinks it's important, why is it a good book, why is it important. So simply going to ask him, for the Australian people and for the people around the world who may be watching, why, we'll start with reason number 1. Why do you think that this book is an important book for Australians and for people around the world?
Thanks, Therese. Well, the overwhelming level of research absolutely blew me away. It's heavy going, but you'd expect that when there's pages and pages of facts and the sources are recorded, and that means a lot to me. I'm the sort of person who loves facts. I don't want to hear innuendo, opinions or whatever. I want the facts, and that really blew me away. It absolutely blew me away when I went through it. It took me a long time to go through it, and then I realised as you go page to page, you can look back, and some of it's related, the research is related back. So if you've got, when you're a guy like me and you've got a bit of a short-term memory, it's a bit of an issue, but I thoroughly enjoyed reading the book.
So we talked about like it's sort of a university level book with all the research evidence.
Yes, it's very heavy.
But you did skills training. You didn't go to university. So anyone intelligent, if you're intelligent and you can read the book, then that's like obviously you can see the value in that as well.
Well, you have to go in with an open mind.
Yeah.
You can't go in shut off and just look at the book, read 2 pages and throw it away. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, the way you've written about the history of women and how they were treated, and, society's just normalised it. They're going, oh, that's okay, move on,
Yeah.
And they bury their heads in the sand and...
Is this reason number 2?
It is reason number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about the history of how women have been treated throughout history.
Yeah, and I must admit this is on a personal level too, because I have issues with my dear wife and what she's been through in her life. So I can relate to a lot of the stuff that's in the book. So, yeah.
Okay. That was number 3 reason?
Number 3 reason is the comments about mental institutions and psychiatry and the arrogance of the psychiatrists and so-called specialists. I've talked to these people, and talking from a personal point of view, I've actually I wrote out a report of how I saw my wife and what she was going through, her issues and that sort of thing, and I presented it to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist read it, went, and just turned it upside down on the table.
Yep.
And I thought, oh, okay. And the other thing that upset me was the fact that the drugs, the dishing out of drugs.
Yeah, the psychiatric drugs.
Yeah, my dear wife, she lost a lot of weight. She lost 80 kilos. And I asked the psychiatrist, do you or do you not base how much drugs you give a person on their body weight? And they went, yeah, that's right. And I said, well...
do you think I proved well and truly in chapter 6 that those drugs are dangerous?
That's what I'm
drugs?
saying. I can actually relate.
Chapter 5, chapter 5,
Yeah. I can actually relate to that.
Yeah.
And you know, to be
they
sort
push them on people. They push them on people.
Yeah, but to be brushed off, because I spent a lot of time trying to write down everything and make a real comprehensive report.
Yes.
And to be just thrown away as a pile of dirt.
Yeah, and you're the husband, so
what would I know?
Your opinion is more important than anybody's in terms of that, That's what they're like. They're very dangerous practitioners, psychiatrists. It should be abolished. I think I proved well and truly it deserves to be abolished, don't you think, the practice?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I quoted evidence all over the world.
Yeah. Yes, you have.
Not just Australia, but
Yeah, it's not really a science. Yeah, so, that's fact number 3, but number 4 is the fact that people have power, like politicians, police, judges, that sort of thing, they just continue the same thing over and over again, and if you stand up against it, you're labelled, and unfortunately you're a lefty, you're a righty, whatever it is. That's rubbish.
Yes.
People are quite entitled to their own opinion, and I think one of my favourite words in life is tolerance.
Okay.
And I really do think that tolerance is so important. Listen to the other guy's point of view. Sure, you don't have to agree with it, but listen to it. And usually, and this is where I start on the media, it's one-sided. You need to find alternative sources of media, but unfortunately a lot of them are getting closed down. You've got to do your own homework. You don't just sit in front of the goggle box and take what's there as gospel, because it isn't.
That's right. Do your own research.
Do your own research.
And do your own investigation of different issues and topics.
That's right.
And don't just take what people say on the television as... Yeah.
So that's...
We were talking about that earlier, and that left-right thing, how I found out that goes back to the French Revolution, where they said that the royals, if you're a supporter of the royals and the monarchists, you go on that side of the room. If you're a supporter of the new republic, you go on that side of the room. And that's right. Where that comes from, left-right. So how the hell did these politicians around the world, they put it in the law to run political systems like that, and electoral systems, and that's just rubbish, The people have got rights. Mm-hmm. The public's got rights. Do you think the rights and freedoms of the Australian people and the world's people came through in my book?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I was, like, when I got into about, I suppose, a third of the book, I was quite blown away. I thought, wow, this is the sort of thing that I've been thinking for years, and I thought I was somebody in society who was an outcast, who was believing in something completely different. Yeah. But when I read that, I thought, that's me.
Yeah, you agreed with a lot of it. And do you think if all Australians read this book, then our nation would be a lot better?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I do acknowledge it's heavy reading, but even if you get a third, halfway through the book, that's probably enough to get you on the trail.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's to inspire the Australian people. That's why I wrote it.
Absolutely.
And the world's people. And I think if all Australians read the book, and it would just improve.
And while we're on this subject, I'm not getting paid for any of this.
No, it's only because you read the whole book, and then and you said you agreed with everything. That I said, people don't have to agree with everything. I said, Owen doesn't have to agree. But I thought, oh, wow, wonderful. I think I'd like to interview you about, why that is. So, so I just asked if that would be okay, and that's why we...
Sure, that's right.
So, thank you so much for your time and your feedback, and I really appreciate that. Thanks so much,
You
Owen.
keep up the good work. You keep writing.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Owen. You're a champion. Thanks.